Hello there, hi there, ho there, internets. This is Dakian coming to you with yet another miniatures ramble. This one for Monday, the 2nd of July, 2018. And I'm starting out with a couple of Reaper miniatures, as per usual, almost these days. Slightly nicer than the ones I've painted recently. These are not bones, these are actually metal minis. And if you'll recall, like I said, this wizard figure is one that I've painted before. I had a second copy of it for whatever reason, and so I painted him up again in different colors this time. And I didn't bother with trying for NMM on the sword this time, like I did last time. I just painted it as normal. And here's the Gnome Alchemist. Some reflections here. Maybe I should have made the different leathers on her even more different colors. I mean, I have a slightly green leather on the straps here, but then there's like 3 different shades of brown. And I'm not sure if they come across differently or if they all blend together with the hair. The bottles stand out, I hope. But I need to practice more on painting bottles, at least if they're supposed to contain fluids. I know I've experimented with that a little bit in the past, but I forgot how I did it. I'm gonna have to go back and look at some tutorials. Now, you can sort of see this as part of my ongoing development at trying to become a sloppier painter. Because like a year ago, 2 years ago, I would have tried to paint these to like a display standard. Now I just don't care. Now high tabletop is good enough. But as I'm saying that, I'm starting to think maybe, if I'm honest with myself, I need to work at my habits, because I'm still doing very smooth blends and subtle transitions, and if I'm serious about the tabletop thing, I really should push the contrast more. I should have made brighter blue highlights on the wizard, for example. And like I said, separated the colors on the gnome a bit more. But oh well. You can't change everything overnight. It's a process. So, yeah. I'm happy enough with them. But I have painted a few more things. And here we have a veritable monster mash of creatures that I painted up from that Reaper set of Dungeon Horrors, I believe it was called. Now to take a closer look at them. Yeah, I'm gonna have to refocus here again. So starting with the smallest one here, the brain with tentacles, who's sort of flying but has a spine and teeth. Again, this, I don't remember if there's a D&D creature whose exact analog for this. Most of the others are pretty close to existing monsters. Like, for example, this beholder or whatever. It's not quite a beholder. It has too many eyes. It has these little extra eyes on the side and on the back. Classically, a beholder only has the big central eye and the ones on the eye stalks. And this idea that it's dragging has some tentacles below and some above, that's also artistic license on the part of the sculptor. But I think I got this one to turn out pretty nice. I experimented a little bit with the look of the eye. And yeah, you can see the base. Now the Shoggoth, I'm not sure. I should have gone with green as well on this one. I considered purple. The thing is, I almost went insane from painting this guy because it has, I don't know how close I can look at it, but it has eyes. It's covered in eyes. It's got millions of eyes. And I painted every single one of them. And I painted the eyes yellow. And the green is perhaps a bit close to that, which means that it all blends together. And on the other hand, if I'd painted the general texture of it purple that would have melded with the sort of pinkish red that is the inside of the mouths. It would have been too close to that. So you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, there's a skeleton in there. It's a little swallowed creature. Now this effect, you can see there's a bit of glistening green on the base. Around it, it's supposed to simulate some sort of mucus. It's as it's slithering around. It didn't turn out. I was a bit impatient with this one. It turned out much better here with the, or at least I think it did, with the yellow, or was it ochre jelly. So what did I do to get this effect? Well, I covered the whole model actually after painting it, as well as a bit of the base around it in water effects. It's something called realistic water from it's in a bottle from Secret Weapon. Yeah, there's other manufacturers that make similar things. I let that dry. That's supposed to dry for 24 hours. And then I put on a second coat and let that dry for 24 hours. And then I glazed some yellow over it all. And so this is supposed to look like slime coming off of the creature. And doing 2 coats helped because this one is only 1 coat and it's not as thick a layer. It's pretty obvious that it's not. Oh well. Something a little bit similar on this one. This is, as I said, I call this an ochre jelly. This is definitely a D&D monster. The carrion crawler is also a classical D&D creature, exactly as in the monster manual. And it had some sculpted slime on the base that went with it, so I had to sort of paint that. And finally, I believe this is an odd jug, which is pretty close to what it's like in the monster manual. And I just painted this one sort of dingy, dirty, grey, gross. Yeah. Overall, this was a fun collection of minis to paint. I enjoy painting monsters, so pretty much more than painting humans, I think. Let's move on to the final. So the last finished minis this week are these half-orcs. There's nothing in common with them except that they're all Reaper Bones and they're all supposed to be half-orcs. This one's supposed to be a paladin. This one, I believe, is supposed to be a warlock or sorcerer or something evil. Maybe if he's a caster, I shouldn't have painted him in metallic armor. I should have made that look like something else. But oh well. Here we have a merchant, a traveling merchant that I decided to paint bright and gay colors just to differentiate him a bit. Lots of clashing bright colors because he wants to get attention. He's a merchant. He wants people to pay attention to him. And finally, this one I believe is a sorceress. And as usual with Bones, having a staff like this is kind of yeah, it's annoying, but oh well. And here again I went with kind of more subtle tones, purples and pinks, I thought. I mean, half-orcs are supposed to be, well, they get a bad rep because they're half-orcs, so you think they're brutal, uncivilized, and so I thought it was kind of fun to paint it sort of cheery pink color. Yeah, so that was what I got done this week. What's that? That's 12 minis, but some of them are pretty complex. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with this crop. So let's move over to the work table. Well, here we can see a neat collection of everything that's gotten to the priming stage or farther. And in the front here we have the 2 GeForce 9 minis. Then we have the Reaper Bones Darrow, evil, insane dwarves. And in the back, only primed. I mean, these have some paint on them, as you can see, but in the back we have those Dark Sword minis for the DVD instructional project, which are just primed, nothing more. Hopefully you can see it's a very light primer layer, following the dictum that I don't want to cover up any detail, so if some metal is shining through, I mean the primer, the white primer is kind of translucent in places, but that's okay, because I'm painting over it anyway. Now, something I've done that Marika does not do on the DVD is to fully assemble everything. For example, she leaves the cape off the Toad King. The reason is she does freehand work, and when she demonstrates that, she's painting the inside of the cloak in a pattern. Now, I'm not going to do that. Because adding the cloak after would lead to painting a lot of stuff that would just be covered up, and it would be sort of pointless. And I'll try to do something like a freehand to follow the instructions, but I'll do it on the outside of the cloak, not the inside. I'm not that worried about winning awards or anything. Yeah, so that's 5, 10, 12 minis, 13 with Popeye there, in the works. Well, I have more in the works, but stuff that's still in prep. I'll show you that next, but we're going to do a little jump back in time, because with those minis that I'm going to show you next, I wanted to show some more of the process. And also you'll notice that I'm being brutally honest with myself, because in the early parts of this series of clips I'm going to say some really stupid things that will turn out not to be true later. You know, just to show I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I try to admit them and learn from them. Let's see what's going on. So I thought I'd do a little bit of an unboxing here. This is being filmed, by the way, in the middle of the week, just as I'm getting ready to start prepping these minis. They will be further along on Monday, so there'll be probably a clip after this or something showing you how far I've gotten. But because I haven't actually bought or painted anything from Privateer Press before, I wanted to take a look at, you know, what it looks like when it comes out of the box. Now, these two, the blisters show everything, so there's no need to unbox these two, because, yeah, you can see what you're getting. But these solid boxes, though, I want to open these up. Now, this one, you can feel that it's metal. So these are kind of old, and you get a sort of plastic clamshell inside this with the actual minis and different containers for bases. It looks like these are the bodies and these are the arms. They come separate and they assemble somehow. Let's see if I'm not sure how to open this. Oh, here it is. There we go. Yes. They all, if I'm not mistaken, they're all, no, one actually has one arm. But the majority of them are bodies with legs and heads but no arms, and all the arms are here. Now, are they, yeah, some of them are like this, where both arms come together. Some of them are separate. Now, let's see how many of these. So one, two, three, well, about half of each, I'd say. Whether this means you can mix and match, or whether the single arms are all the same. These look all the same. These three are identical. So, and they're all left arms. So hopefully there's 3 right arms in here someplace that are also similar. Not sure. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Counting the dual ones, there's a grand total of 16 arms. So that means there probably should be more minis that have an arm on them. I'm not sure how this is going to work. First impression is I'm missing a few arms. But yeah, I'll assemble them and we'll see what happens. Anyway, here we have the 2 plastic kits. And they are simply, oh, there's a stat card in there. I don't care about that. And, well, this is simple enough. It's just a few plastic pieces and a base. And same thing here. Big body, some parts. Oh, now I see. Some of the arms have spilled over into the there was an arm or 2 there in hiding amongst the bases. Hopefully that clears up the numbers. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to be starting with these first up. Then probably moving on to the 2 plastic ones, and these will be last. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Let's do a time jump. Okay, I sorted it out. So we have 6 guys who need both arms, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. That's all sorted. And then I found that some of these guys actually have a sculpted right arm on them. So all they need is the left. That's why all these are lefties. This guy is probably the leader because he's the most different. He's got an outstretched right arm. He has a separate headpiece, needs to be attached. And looking at these, this one looks slightly different. I suppose this is the leader's. But here's the issue. I have 3 of these and 4 of these bodies. I am missing 1 left arm. And I've looked all through the packaging. No, it's not there. That's unfortunate, especially since these are like old minis. These are first edition Hordes, I believe. Discontinued. There's no way I'm going to get a spare thing for this, for these guys. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go into my bits box and see if I can find something, some sort of replacement to make it look reasonably okay. It's not gonna match these anyway, but oh well. Unfortunate, but as I said, I bought these on sale years and years ago and never bothered to look in the box when it came, you know. Mea culpa. We'll see. Again, I'll do the time jump and we'll see if we find a fix. You know what? My bad. Here I was accusing Party Press of shortchanging me. As a matter of fact, I didn't have too few parts, I had too many parts. See, the box clearly states that this is a unit of 10, and there are 10 bases in there, and there's arms enough for 10 models, but there were 11 bodies. That was the thing, there was an extra body. So, I've kit bashed something. Luckily, these bases are standard, I don't know if you can tell. These are, you know, the same manufacturer just about everybody uses, who has these lift bases. And So I've put together these guys and kit bashed the 11th. I'll show you that one later. Let's talk a little bit first about... for the most part, the fit is okay. They fit the bases extremely well. These arms are okay. This arm was good as well. This back portion has huge gaps here that need to be filled. And that there was nothing I could do about that. And we'll have to see once the glue sets. Some of these arms are better than others. There's two with this position. They're probably the best. There's two with this position, and that fits fairly well too. But the two like this, they have huge gaps here at the shoulder, and that's, you know, maybe it's my fault, maybe I just didn't find the right angle, but honestly I think I tried everything I could, and I couldn't really see any other way. I'm just gonna have to put a huge blob of putty down there to fill in and just paint over it and hope that nobody notices. This is going to be noticeable if anybody looks at it twice. This arm is from something else and the spear is from something third. There's two different kits. It's stuff from my bits box. I didn't have anything resembling these hooked pole arms, so I just went with at least a pole arm. It's a spear. Nobody's going to be fooled if they look twice, as I said, at this unit, but oh well. At least I got some use out of this extra body. I'm going to paint that up with the rest. And yeah, that's where these guys stand at the moment. That's how far I've gotten. I need to like gap fill the stuff that needs to be gap filled, texture the bases, prime them, and then I can start painting them. Yep. And it's Christmas time in the summertime. I've got a box in the mail. This is a box from Hassle-Free Miniatures. And it doesn't look like a big box, but the thing is, when you don't pack minis in blister packs, but in, well, tissue paper. Well, not just tissue paper. Well, actually there's one in the blister. Small blister, but most of them are like this in just little plastic baggies. They don't take up much space. So there's a ton of minis in here. And what is this? Well, some of these, let's see, the ones here on top, I believe, are the ones I ordered back in November, which was just an ordinary order from their website. And then because they were supposed to fulfill the Kickstarter that they ran last year at around the same time, I told them to combine shipping. And so they held that order. And the Kickstarter was supposed to ship in January, but, you know, they had a lot of delays. And I'm not going to go into that. If you've followed the Kickstarter or Hassle-Free as a company, you'll know this whole story. But they eventually did manage to get all of it to me. And you know what? I think I'm going to sort this out a little bit before I show you some of the minis. Hang on a sec. Okay, let's see what we've got here. First off, it's actually 2 orders I placed on the website plus a Kickstarter. So the first order I placed on the Kickstarter site was for a bunch of resin figures. This is one of their few large-scale minis. It's a 54mm or 72, I forget. It's actually a sort of World War II pinup model, or maybe Vietnam era, I'm not sure. He's kind of a soldier who's supposed to be leaning against a wall. Her name is Crystal, anyway. And there's a few others. These are mostly fantasy minis. And no problem here. Then I placed a second order shortly after that I combined shipping with, because they were having a sale on Redbox minis. Redbox is a company from the US that I've bought a lot of minis from before and painted a lot. And Hassle-Free has stocked their minis, but for various reasons was going to stop doing that, and they were selling out their supply of them. And here's where the problem came in. A bunch of them apparently ran out before they could actually pack my order, so they were agonizing about what to do. And in the end, these are not exactly, in every case, the minis I ordered. Some of them are replacement minis, but that's okay. I mean, they were really cheap. They were on sale, and the company Hassle-Free tossed in a few extras to compensate for the fact that they're not exactly correct. So I'm fine with it. And finally, we have the Kickstarter, which I've spread out all the way to here. This is, as you can see here, it says Matt Dixon Kickstarter on all of them. And this is because the Kickstarter was for mini sculpts based on artwork done by an artist named Matt Dixon. And one of the sort of unique selling points of the Kickstarter was that each mini would be done in 3 versions, at least. Some of them are more. But let me show you. Let me put the camera down and see if I can focus. So here, for example, we have the model. Okay, that's in focus. Okay, this is the model called Erin. And Erin is, as you can see, perhaps a bard. She has a lute on her back, a sword at her side, and a walking stick. Now, she comes into different other versions as well. Here we have Winter Erin, who has a fur cloak. Well, it's fur lined, actually. This is interesting. It's smooth on the outside and there's fur on the inside, and she has a bit, you know, she's a little bit more covered in general. And the third option is the opposite. This is the Skyclad, and note, I should perhaps have noted this is not safe for work. But here we have the completely nude version. And I have most of these in all 3 versions. Some of them are even more. Well, for example, here we have Bodhi, who is the Shaman Bodhi, the Frost Shaman Bodhi, Jaguar Bodhi, and Shaman Bodhi again. I got 2 of those. Huh. Seems like I got an extra. Oh well. And this one is also Bodhi, but not labeled, so I'm not sure what she is. This is perhaps some extra stuff that he tossed in, again to compensate for the lateness of it. But yeah, so this is a whole batch of minis that is, as you perhaps have noticed, setting back my statistics for the year quite a lot, back in the red. But that's okay. I can paint enough during the rest of the year to make up for that, I hope. And nothing else I have incoming is quite as large as this batch. There's a few other Kickstarters and other orders I'm waiting on, but I mean, none of those are more than 20 models. That is 20 miniatures per order. So, you know, I'm keeping it a little toned down. Now, do I want to paint any of these right away? Well, I don't know. I might. I'm going to look at these Redbox minis because these are sort of general use fantasy characters. I'm going to have a look through these and see if there's anything I feel like painting right away. Yep. But yeah, you'll have to wait for next week to see. I'm not deciding right now. So, a packed video this week, so to speak, with lots of stuff. Hope you had some fun watching it, and I will see you next week. In the meantime, click like, subscribe if you haven't done so, comment if you need to say something. Comments are always welcome. And until next week, this is Dr. Jan, signing off.